Hi, today's video is a guide to betting in Sabacc. I really enjoy betting in Sabacc because it makes the stakes just a lot higher, and when the pot is really big, it just makes people play harder, and they're just a lot more enjoyable that way. It also makes it more real to me. I think of Han Solo playing Lando for the Millennium Falcon, and in Solo you see that big table full of credits from around the galaxy. It just makes it feel like I'm in Star Wars. Now, what can you use for betting? Some people like to use poker chips or pennies, nickels, dimes, that type of thing. Personally, I really love metal credits. To me, nothing beats the feel and weight of real metal credits, and hearing that in the pot. But what are the values of these metal credits? The shorter answer is, we don't really know. In the Star Wars series and the movies, they never actually assign a value to any of the credits that are shown or used on screen. So to keep things simple, we like to use the values of 5 for bronze, 50 for silver, and 100 for gold. There are 7 different actions of betting in Sabacc. You have ante, blind, check, bet, call, raise, and fold. The ante is basically pay to play. Before you play, it's an agreed upon amount that every player pays into the pot to get their new hand. Then we have the blind. It's called the blind because the first 1 or 2 players pay it before they can see their hand. Some house rules of Spike, it would have a small and a big blind. The small blind could be just something like 5 credits, and then the big blind is at least double the value of the small blind. Traditional Sabacc does not play with big and small blind, it just has a blind, and then Shift has no blind. The point of the blind is that it's an investment into the game and gets the game going with bets. The position of the blind changes with each hand as the position of the dealer changes. The next action you can take is to check. If no bets have been made into the pot, instead of putting money in, you can decide to check, basically skipping your turn. The fourth action you can take is to actually place a bet and put money into the pot. Calling is when somebody before you placed money into the pot and you are matching their bet. Raising is where somebody before you has already put money into the pot, but instead of just calling that amount, you want to increase it and make everyone else put more in as well. If you do raise, doubling is not required as it is in some instances of poker. The last action of betting in Sabacc is folding. If you don't want to call or raise the bets that have been placed before you, you need to fold or junk your hand. While folding your hand does prevent you from losing future credits, any credits you've already put into the pot are now gone. Some house rules of Spike Sabacc require a fee if you decide to fold or junk your hand. Let's talk strategy. If you've got a mediocre hand but want to try and scare some of the other players away, you can place a high bet hoping to make them fold. But that might come back to bite you because the other players might have a really good hand, call your bet, and then you're out of credits. If you got a good hand, you don't want to scare everyone off by placing a high bet because then they'll just all fold. Instead, what you can do is check by not betting anything and then hope that someone else in the betting phase will bet, and when it comes back to you, you raise it more, and then everyone else will have to put more in or fold at that point. Your strategy in betting will also change on the variant because there's a different amount of rounds per game. In Shift, there are only 2 rounds of betting. In Spike, there are 3. And in Traditional, the rounds of betting are unlimited until somebody calls the game. Also, the betting phase is at different points in different variants. In Traditional Sabacc, it goes betting, trading, then dice. In Spike, it goes trading, betting, and then dice. One last tip for you is that in Shift, it's actually a lot better to fold more often than it is to bet into the pot. One reason for this is that the games are really quick and it's really easy to get a new hand and keep going. Another reason is it's hard to bluff in Shift. If somebody's got a good hand in Shift, there's not much you can do to bluff to make them fold. So it's better just to fold yourself if you don't have the exact criteria to win that hand in Shift. So that's how to bet in Sabacc. I know this is gambling, but we actually don't ever play for keeps. We divvy out credits at the beginning of the game, but at the end, even though one person may have won it all, it always goes back to the original owner. If you want to up your game, I really recommend getting some metal credits. We have a lot of different Star Wars themed credits from around the galaxy, including ones from Clone Wars, Galaxy's Edge, Huttese, Imperial, Solo, New Republic, and we're always trying to come out with more. Thanks so much for joining me. See ya.